Hello, my name is James. It's very nice to meet you. Yes, I'm doing quite well, thank you. Shall we get started? Well, I am extremely excited to show you the results of months of hard work that have gone into this project concerning Pace Credit Union. Now, on our presentation agenda for today, I will begin with my introduction, the methods used to design the research study, interpreting the research data into information for decision making, describing strategies and approaches for leading change. I will also be describing the nature of budgets, followed by my conclusion. So, to begin, Pace Credit Union is a full-service financial cooperative. So what exactly does that mean? Well, Pace is a credit union, so they spread the love. So every account that Pace has is a member of their credit union. And the members are all part owners of the credit union. Now, when the credit union makes profit, that profit is spread among its members. Pace offers a variety of financial services, from mortgages to TFSAs, lines of credit, and everything in between. They have about 40,000 members in 14 locations across the GTA. They employ about 102 people and hold over $1 billion in assets. This is a chart of the age and sex of the Toronto population from 2016. Since Pace services their members mostly in and around Toronto, this is a fair representation of the demographic that they face today. Their target market. Now, in actuality, the GTA is quite diverse. The average age is about 40. And of course, the average income is middle class, which is about $88,000. Compare that to Pace's target market. The average credit union member age is about 47. And in a discussion I had with some Pace executives, they said that their membership values brick and mortar locations over online banking, which is an issue that will be discussed further. Now, the current state of the business. There are many issues that Pace has faced in the past couple years. This is the largest. Now, in April 2020, they hired 3 major executives: Barbara Dirks, a CEO, Terry O'Brien, the Chief Risk Officer and the Chief Operations Officer, and Benjamin Choi, the Chief Financial Officer. Now, in November of 2020, the reason these 3 executives were hired, an issue, came up again. And as a result of that issue, both Ms. Dirks and Ms. O'Brien resigned, leaving the company in the hands of the financial regulator of Ontario. Pace Credit Union faces a multitude of problems. These are the 3 largest that they currently face. Number 1 is COVID-19 setbacks, specifically financial ones. Number 2 is general financial illiteracy among the community, notably among youth, which leads me to my third point, a lack of younger members at the credit union. Now, to solve these problems, I have created the Pace Pledge campaign. And the campaign has 3 overarching goals. The first goal is to provide assistance to those most financially affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in the community. The second is to communicate with young adults and teenagers and motivate them to establish memberships at Pace Credit Union. Now, according to JP Power, just 4% of consumers switched primary banks in 2018. If younger members establish memberships at Pace Credit Union when they are young, it is much more unlikely that they will switch their accounts over to banks or other credit unions. And finally, we want to educate the community about financial literacy and focus specifically on the advantages of becoming a member at a credit union. Now, to coordinate my research, I came up with 3 goals to really specify what I was looking for. The first was to obtain a thorough understanding of Pace Credit Union as a whole. The second was to evaluate recent setbacks, specifically caused by COVID-19, and get an understanding of consumer opinions and the reputation of the business as a result of these setbacks. Finally, I wanted to identify the most effective strategy to solve the problems that I mentioned beforehand. Now, in my first stage, I conducted secondary research. I evaluated the Pace corporate website, which you see before you, the Canadian Credit Union Association, and several financial statements that Pace has released to the general public. I specifically analyzed Pace's social media presence, which is quite poor. Their number 1 social media in terms of followers is Twitter, followed by Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and finally Snapchat and TikTok, both with 0 followers, which is an issue I will discuss later on. Now, in my second stage of primary research, I interviewed Denny Theodore, the Vice President of Communications and Engagement at Pace, and Nicole Stone, the branch manager for Stouffville and Aurora Pace locations. I also conducted a consumer survey. I received 71 respondents, a multitude of incomes, ages, and financial standings throughout these respondents, and I'd like to draw your attention to a particular statistic I received from these respondents. The question was, are you aware of the differences between banks and credit unions? And over half of the participants either said no or that they were unsure of the differences. In my final stage, I analyzed the competitors of Pace, specifically RBC and Vancity, one of the largest credit unions in Canada. I also interviewed Jeff Phillips, a director of sales at Northern Credit Union, a credit union in Northern Ontario which is quite similar in size to Pace. Here we are at interpreting the research data into information. Now, to get a full comprehension of my research, I decided to do a SWOT analysis of Pace Credit Union. I began with their strengths, and I discovered that those strengths were personal banking, a convenience in banking, and their finances. I found that their weaknesses were their connection with youth, especially young adults, financial literacy, where I discovered there's actually a lack of financial literacy among the community as a whole, weak consumer opinions of Pace throughout the GTA and even across the country. Now, opportunities. I discovered that there are two major opportunities for Pace: local business loyalty. In my survey, I found that the vast majority of respondents considered themselves loyal to their local businesses. Financial advantages. I also discovered that Pace holds many financial advantages over the bigger banks, notably in interest rating. And finally, threats. When I compared Pace Credit Union to Northern Credit Union, a credit union of similar size, I discovered that their initiatives, or the initiatives of Northern Credit Union, were much more advanced than those of Pace. I also discovered that the member relationships Northern has between its employees and its members are much stronger and more intricate than those that Pace has with its members. In conclusion, and this is a graphic representing what Pace has gone through in the past 6 months to a year. It began with the new hires of their executives. Their former president and CEO came under legal scrutiny. Their quarterly reports for the third financial quarter of 2020 came out to the public. Mass resignations followed. And finally, the financial regulator of Ontario formally took control of Pace Credit Union, leaving the credit union in near shambles. Strategies and approaches for leading change. Now, in front of you, this is a timeline for the Pace Pledge campaign for 2021. You will notice that it is split into two. The first portion of the timeline will be a test phase run at specific chosen locations to determine the effectivity of the campaign. Now, pending the success of this campaign, starting in about April and May, the rest of the physical locations of Pace Credit Union will follow, and the full campaign will be implemented. The first stage is an information campaign. We will begin with making a TikTok account, something Pace does not currently have, to release financial information, free financial information, to the general public, specifically targeting youth. We will also hold free financial literacy seminars at local schools to educate youth about financial literacy. And finally, in the summer, we will hold a financial boot camp for students, or really anyone at an age who wants to learn more about financial literacy, and this will be held at Pace locations. Stage 2, community charity initiatives. In the past few months, Pace has been supporting Backpacks for Heroes and Durham Food Bank, two initiatives. Their Backpack for Heroes campaign has been to fill backpacks with school supplies for kids who have lost their homes to fires, which is a heroic endeavor. Their second initiative is a partnership with the Durham Food Bank, where in 2020 they donated over 1,000 pounds of food to be distributed across multiple food banks in the GTA. As part of my campaign, I want to step up these initiatives, donate even more money. These things represent Pace's values, and I want to enhance that image through helping the community. We will also hold an end-of-year celebration to thank the employees working at Pace, especially after 2020 and 2021, 2 years that so far have been quite hard on a number of people. These are two photos of both the Backpack for Heroes campaign and the Durham Food Bank campaign. Stage 3, financially aiding those in need. This stage will contain two initiatives. First, a partnership with the Royal Canadian Legion, which has suffered greatly financially due to COVID-19. We want to help the Legion, make more donations, offer our support, our advertisements. And we want to make sure that they're in a better place than they were before our partnership. We also want to support local small businesses, which will both help our image in the community and help the people in that community. Our final stage will be rewarding members. First, we will be offering an academic bursary of $20,000 towards university or college tuition to the winner of the bursary. We will also be revitalizing the rewards program that Pace Credit Union currently has implemented. Now, this rewards program was canceled a few months ago. We want to revitalize that effort and reward the members of Pace Credit Union. The nature of budgets. Now, a budget can be defined as a financial plan that predicts costs and earnings over a precise time frame. The nature of a budget is to arrange for how cash is to be spent. There are three major types of budgets: incremental, activity-based, and value proposition. What we will be looking at today is an activity-based budget, which is focused on results. For example, if a company is seeking a 10% gain in sales, the budget would be worked out backwards in order to meet that need and fund it accordingly. Here is my activity-based budget. Now, our budget is split into two phases. The test phase, which will cover 5 initiatives over 3 locations and cost just over $34,000. This will be followed by the main phase, which will cover 6 initiatives over 11 locations and cost just over $80,000. Now, this is our anticipated return on investment. Now, to consider that return on investment, we need to make 2 assumptions. First, that Pace will make a net profit of about $1 million in 2021, to which they made a similar gain in 2020. And second, that the Pace Pledge campaign will result in an increase in profit and not a loss. Now, our formula is very simple. It is investment gains minus investment costs divided by investment costs times 100%. Our anticipated results. As a result of the Pace Pledge campaign, we anticipate a 12% increase in sales, a return on investment of 4.3%, and a campaign profit of $5,160. Now, these numbers may seem low, but I would like you to keep in mind that Pace has experienced several financial difficulties over the past few years, specifically in 2020, and a 12% increase in sales and a return of investment of 4.3% would be considered a grand success for this company. And finally, my conclusion. To summarize, Pace has experienced several scandals, resignations, and even a takeover by the financial regulator in the past couple years, specifically in the past 6 months. However, Pace offers excellent service and has a financial strength that is unparalleled in many businesses and financial institutions across Canada. In the future, through the Pace Pledge campaign, they will increase customer loyalty and spending, which is, of course, the overall goal of this campaign. This, in front of us, is Pace. Not the scandals in the news, not the bad press. This is the Pace that isn't in the news. The community involvement, the charity work, the kindness in a world that needs so much more of it. This credit union has tons and tons of potential, and I believe, through my research and through my project, that they are only getting started. This is my contact information in case I need to be reached. Thank you so much for having me and listening to my presentation. I really appreciate it. Please have a great day and stay safe.